I never imagined that 42 years of saving lives in the operating room would end with me crouched beneath my own kitchen window at 3 inches the morning, listening to my son explain to his wife exactly how they planned to stop my heart. But that's where 4 decades of cardiac surgery got me. The same instincts that helped me spot a failing bypass before the monitors caught it. Those same instincts made me drive home to Lake Tahoe 3 days before Thanksgiving when something in my son's voice didn't sound right. My wife, Eleanor, and I bought this lakefront property 28 years ago. Back then, it was just a modest cabin on 2 acres, but I'd renovated it piece by piece over the decades. Eleanor designed the music room where she taught private piano lessons after retiring from the university. She planted the garden that stretched down to the water's edge. We raised our children here every summer, taught them to ski on these slopes, to fish in this lake. It was supposed to be where our grandchildren would make the same memories. I had driven up from San Francisco on Monday evening, 3 days before the holiday. My son Stephen had called that morning, his voice tight in a way I couldn't quite place. He said Eleanor had been having episodes lately, forgetting names, getting confused about dates, leaving the stove on. Nothing serious, he assured me, but maybe I should stay at the city apartment a few extra days while he and his wife Vanessa helped get things under control at the lake house. That's when the old surgeon's instinct kicked in. 42 years of reading patients, of knowing when something was wrong before the test results came back. I told Stephen I'd stay put, ended the call, and immediately packed my bag. The drive took nearly 5 hours through holiday traffic. I tried calling Eleanor 6 times. No answer. Her phone went straight to voicemail every time. Cell service at the lake wasn't always reliable, but combined with Stephen's strange call, it gnawed at me. Call it 4 decades of pattern recognition. When vitals don't match the patient's presentation, you investigate. I pulled into our gravel driveway around midnight. The house was lit up like a Christmas display, every window blazing. Odd. Eleanor always turned in by 9:30, especially since she'd started having trouble sleeping. I grabbed my medical bag from the trunk of my Mercedes out of habit and walked toward the side entrance. That's when I heard voices. Low, urgent voices coming from the kitchen, and underneath them, something else. A sound I'd heard too many times in hospital rooms. The shallow, labored breathing of someone sedated. I didn't go through the door. Surgeons learn to assess before they cut. I moved along the side of the house, staying in the shadows of Eleanor's rose bushes. The kitchen window faced the garden, blinds drawn but not completely closed. I could see 2 figures at the breakfast table, papers spread between them. Stephen, my 44-year-old son, his dark hair catching the overhead light, and Vanessa, his wife of 9 years, leaning over what looked like legal documents. I pressed against the siding, listening. "The cardiac medication is perfect," Vanessa's voice carried through the cracked window. Dr. Hoffman said it mimics all the symptoms: confusion, memory loss, fatigue. Nobody questions an elderly man's heart giving out, especially one with a documented history of episodes. "What if my father notices something when he gets here Thursday?" Stephen's voice was strained. "He's a heart surgeon. For God's sake, he'll recognize the symptoms. That's why we need to move faster." The insurance policy change went through last week. $8.7 million, payable to the estate upon death. With your mother declared incompetent, you have power of attorney. The money goes directly to us. My blood turned to ice, despite the warm November night. "What about Rebecca?" Stephen asked. "My daughter, my youngest. She's been asking questions. Called Mom twice last week, asking why she sounded strange. Rebecca lives in Portland. By the time she figures anything out, it'll be done. Thanksgiving dinner, your father has a heart attack at the table. Tragic, but not unexpected for a 71-year-old man. The medical records, Doctor. Hoffman created show a history of arrhythmia, medication for blood pressure issues, documented confusion. The insurance company won't look twice. And Mom? The facility in Nevada is ready. Memory care unit, minimal oversight. We keep her medicated. She doesn't remember anything. Within 6 months, the dementia diagnosis becomes real. The medication damage is irreversible. She never talks to anyone about what happened. I stepped back from the window, my surgeon's hands trembling for the first time in decades. My son, my firstborn, The boy I taught to fish on this very lake, the young man I put through business school, he was planning to murder me, to steal his mother's mind, to take everything Eleanor and I had spent 45 years building. I pulled out my phone and called Rebecca. She answered on the second ring. Dad, it's after midnight. Is everything okay? I need you at the lake house. Now, don't call anyone else. Just come. Dad, I'm in Portland. That's a 6-hour drive. Rebecca, your brother and his wife are planning to kill me. I need you here, and I need whatever legal resources you can access quietly. Silence. Then, I'm already in Reno. I drove down yesterday because something felt wrong. I've been investigating Stephen for the past 4 months, Dad. I was going to tell you at Thanksgiving. 4 months? His restaurant investment collapsed. He owes $2.3 million to investors. Some of them aren't the patient type. I found emails, Dad. Plans. A doctor who isn't really a doctor. I have everything documented. I'm an hour away. Stay hidden until I get there. Your mother's in the house. I'm not leaving her. Then don't let them know you're there. I'm bringing help. I called the FBI field office in Sacramento yesterday. They've been building a case on the fake doctor for 6 months. This is exactly what they needed. I ended the call. My daughter, the investigative attorney, the one who questioned everything, who never took anyone's word at face value. If anyone could help, she could. But an hour was a long time. I moved to the back of the house, to the master bedroom on the ground floor. Eleanor and I always left the mudroom door unlocked, a habit from decades of lake house living. I slipped inside, moving through the dark hallways I'd walked for 28 years. Eleanor lay in our bed, still wearing her clothes from earlier. Her breathing was shallow, her face slack. I checked her pulse. Slow. Too slow. I opened her nightstand drawer and found 4 prescription bottles. I read the labels in the dim light. Benzodiazepines, digoxin at a dangerously high dose, antihistamines, and something else. A compounded medication with no proper labeling. I took photos of everything. Eleanor. I shook her shoulder gently. Wake up, love. Her eyes fluttered open, unfocused. Thomas? You're supposed to be in San Francisco. Stephen said you weren't coming until Thursday. What have they been giving you? My heart medication. The new doctor, Dr. Hoffman, he said I needed stronger doses. I've been so tired lately, Thomas. So confused. Tears began sliding down her face. Yesterday I couldn't remember how to play Claire de Lune. I've played that piece for 50 years. What's happening to me? I held her face in my hands. You're not losing anything. They've been drugging you, making you confused so they can claim you're incompetent. Stephen? Our Stephen? Her voice broke. He wouldn't. He's our son. That was the question, wasn't it? I helped Eleanor sit up, made her drink water. Lock this door after me. Don't open it for anyone but Rebecca or me. Where are you going? To end this. I walked back through the house, down the hallway where our children's photos lined the walls. Stephen, at his college graduation. Rebecca, at her law school ceremony. Both of them together at Stephen's wedding 9 years ago. Happy faces. A family that was supposed to last. The kitchen door was closed now. I could hear them inside, still talking, shuffling papers. I didn't knock. I pushed the door open and walked in. Stephen and Vanessa spun around. The documents on the table, the ones I'd glimpsed through the window, were quickly being gathered into a folder. But I could see the letterhead. Pacific Northwest Life Insurance. My policy. Dad. Stephen's face went white. We weren't expecting you until Thursday. Obviously. Vanessa recovered faster. She always did. When Stephen brought her home 9 years ago, I'd done my due diligence. Failed marketing firm. Bankruptcy filing at 28. A pattern of high-risk investments that never panned out. But Stephen loved her, and I'd kept my concerns private. Now I was regretting that decision. Thomas. What a surprise. Vanessa stood, smoothing her blouse. Can I get you some coffee? I heard everything through the window. About my heart attack at Thanksgiving dinner. About the $8.7 million. About putting Eleanor in a facility in Nevada. The room went silent. Stephen's hand went to his forehead. Dad, it's not what you think. We were just talking, hypothetically, about what would happen if something happened to you. Planning for the future. Planning my murder is planning for the future? Nobody said murder. Vanessa's voice hardened. You're being dramatic. We're concerned about you. Both of you. Your mother's been confused for months. And you're 71 years old. You operated on hearts for 42 years. The stress takes a toll. We've been documenting incidents, memory lapses, confusion, poor judgment. Dr. Hoffman has been very thorough. Dr. Hoffman isn't a doctor. He's Marcus Hoffman, a nurse practitioner who lost his license in Oregon 3 years ago for insurance fraud. I haven't looked him up yet, but I'd bet my medical license on it. Vanessa's face flickered, just for a second. These incidents you've documented, I continued. Show me. Stephen looked at Vanessa. She nodded slightly. He pulled several pages from the folder and handed them over. I read through them. Professional letterhead, detailed observations, recommendations for immediate intervention, including guardianship and managed care. November 3rd, I allegedly drove to the wrong address and got lost. November 8th, I supposedly forgot about a scheduled call with my financial advisor. November 12th, I left the garage door open all night. November 3rd, I was at a medical conference in Chicago. November 8th, I was in surgery consultation at Stanford. November 12th, I was on a flight back from a conference in Miami. Should I continue? Stephen's face flushed. The dates might be off. The incidents are real. The word you're looking for is fraud. I set the papers down, along with attempted murder, elder abuse, and conspiracy to commit insurance fraud. Nobody's trying to murder anyone. Vanessa stood her ground. We're trying to protect our family. Stephen's business failed. We owe people money. Dangerous people. They've threatened our children. What were we supposed to do? You could have asked for help. You could have come to me like an adult. Instead, you decided to kill me and destroy your mother's mind. That's when I heard it. A car on the gravel driveway. Multiple doors opening and closing. Stephen heard it too. His expression changed. Who did you call? My daughter. The attorney. The one who's been investigating you for 4 months. The kitchen door opened. Rebecca came through first, still in her business clothes from whatever meeting she'd had in Reno. Behind her, a man in his 52nds, with graying temples and FBI credentials visible on his belt, and a younger woman in a navy suit. Dad. Rebecca hugged me quickly. You okay? Fine. Your mother's in the bedroom. They've been drugging her for months. Rebecca turned to Stephen. Her face could have been carved from stone. Stephen, what have you done? Stay out of this, Rebecca. This is family business. This is federal business now. She gestured to the man behind her. This is Special Agent Morrison from the Sacramento Field Office, Financial Crimes Division. And this is Agent Park from Insurance Fraud. I've been sharing information with them for 4 months. They were very interested in what I had to say. Agent Morrison stepped forward. Mr. and Mrs. Harrison, I'm going to need you to stay exactly where you are. Agent Park was already at the table, photographing the documents. Life insurance policy, $8.7 million. Beneficiary listed as estate, controlled by Stephen Harrison upon incapacitation or death of primary holder. Policy modification dated 3 weeks ago. I didn't authorize that change, I said. We know. Rebecca pulled out her laptop, opening it on the counter. I've been monitoring Stephen's communications since August. Since his restaurant group collapsed and his investors started making threats, he needed money fast. And he looked at Mom and Dad and saw a solution. She turned the screen. Bank statements, emails, text messages, 4 months of planning. Marcus Hoffman, Rebecca continued, former nurse practitioner, license revoked in Oregon for falsifying medical records for insurance claims. Stephen's been paying him $3,000 a month to create documentation, fake diagnoses, fake incidents, everything they'd need to claim incompetency and control the estate. Stephen made a sound like something inside him was breaking. Vanessa lunged for the back door. Agent Park intercepted her smoothly, and suddenly, my daughter-in-law was face down on my hardwood floor, hands being cuffed behind her back. Vanessa Harrison, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, insurance fraud, elder abuse, and falsifying medical documents. You have the right to remain silent. Stephen collapsed into a kitchen chair. Rebecca, please. We weren't actually going to hurt anyone. It was just planning. Contingencies. We weren't going to go through with it. Then explain the medication you've been giving, Mom. Rebecca's voice could have cut glass. Explain the forged insurance documents. Explain the conversation Dad overheard about his heart attack at Thanksgiving dinner. Vanessa said it would just scare them, make them think they needed help, that we'd take care of them, keep them safe, while stealing $9 million and selling the property they built for 28 years? I said quietly. That's your version of care? Eleanor appeared in the doorway then, clutching the frame for support. She'd made it out of the bedroom somehow. Stephen. Her voice was barely a whisper. Tell me Rebecca's wrong. Tell me you wouldn't do this to us. Stephen couldn't meet his mother's eyes. Mom, I'm so sorry. The investors, they threatened Emma and Jake, said they'd hurt the kids if we didn't pay. I was terrified. So you decided to kill your father? Eleanor's voice cracked. To steal my mind? I didn't think. I just wanted to protect my family. By destroying ours. I moved to Eleanor's side, steadying her. Stephen, you have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. What kind of father teaches them that family is disposable when money gets tight? More vehicles outside. Police cars, their lights painting the walls blue and red through the windows. Officers came through the front door, conferring with the FBI agents. Vanessa was already being led out to a car. Stephen sat motionless, tears streaming down his face. Agent Morrison approached me. Dr. Harrison, we'll need your statement, and your wife's. We have enough to charge them both, but the more documentation we have, the stronger the case. Whatever you need. We'll also need those medication bottles from the bedroom. We can have them analyzed to determine exactly what your wife was being given. Rebecca brought Eleanor over, settling her on the living room couch. She looked small, fragile, in a way I'd never seen before. 45 years of marriage, and I'd never seen her look defeated. The next hours blurred together. Statements given, evidence collected, Eleanor's medication bottles bagged and tagged, crime scene investigators photographing our kitchen, our bedroom, the forged documents. Agent Morrison was thorough and professional. He explained they'd been building a case against Marcus Hoffman for months, ever since another family came forward with a similar story. Rebecca had connected the dots, found the link to Stephen, started gathering evidence. Your daughter saved your lives, Agent Morrison said. Another week, maybe 2, and this would have been a very different conversation. By dawn, it was over. Stephen was charged with conspiracy, fraud, and elder abuse. Vanessa faced attempted murder charges, conspiracy, insurance fraud, and a list of financial crimes stretching back 5 years. She went to county jail immediately. Stephen, because of his children, was released on house arrest with an ankle monitor pending trial, barred from any contact with Eleanor and me. Rebecca stayed. Her husband David drove down from Portland with their 3 kids, arriving around noon. They found us in the kitchen. Eleanor and I sitting at the table we'd bought together 3 decades ago, drinking coffee neither of us could taste. Grandpa, my youngest granddaughter, threw herself at me. 9 years old, all energy and innocence. Why were there police cars outside? Mom said you had a problem with Uncle Stephen. I hugged her tight. Just some grown-up problems, sweetheart. Nothing for you to worry about. Rebecca took the kids down to the lake while David made breakfast. He didn't ask questions, just moved around our kitchen like he belonged there, making pancakes, brewing more coffee. He'd always been like that, knowing when silence was better than words. The trial was in March, Placer County Superior Court. I testified. Eleanor testified. Rebecca presented the evidence she'd gathered. 4 months of meticulous documentation. Marcus Hoffman testified against them in exchange for a reduced sentence, laying out the entire scheme. How Vanessa had approached him first. How much he'd been paid. What documents he'd forged. The medication combinations designed to create confusion and cardiac symptoms. The prosecutor was relentless. She painted Vanessa as the mastermind who'd exploited her husband's desperation and her in-laws' trust. Stephen's lawyer tried to argue he was a victim too, coerced by threats against his children, manipulated by his wife. But the emails told a different story. Stephen had been active in the planning. He'd personally researched memory care facilities. He'd drafted the fake incident reports. He'd administered the medication to his own mother. The jury deliberated for 3 days. Vanessa was found guilty on all counts: conspiracy to commit murder, insurance fraud, identity theft, elder abuse, falsifying medical documents. The judge gave her 18 years in federal prison, no parole eligibility for 12. The courtroom was silent when the sentence came down. Vanessa's parents were in the gallery, her mother sobbing. I felt nothing, just a hollow space where something used to be. Stephen's trial was a month later. The jury struggled more with his case. He was guilty, clearly, but the children complicated things. Emma was 8, Jake was 6. Their mother was going to prison for nearly 2 decades. Their father's imprisonment would leave them orphans. In the end, Stephen was convicted of conspiracy, fraud, and elder abuse. But the judge, a man around my age with tired eyes, showed mercy for the grandchildren's sake. 5 years in prison, followed by 10 years probation, mandatory therapy, community service focused on elder care advocacy, and a permanent restraining order keeping him away from Eleanor and me except under supervised conditions. But there was one more component: restorative justice. The judge ordered Stephen to make a public statement at a Sacramento community forum on elder abuse and family fraud. It happened in June, 7 months after that November night. Eleanor and I sat in the front row of a UC Davis auditorium, 200 people in attendance. Medical professionals, social workers, family caregivers, law students. Stephen walked to the podium. He'd lost weight, his face gaunt. He wore a simple gray suit, no tie. My name is Stephen Harrison. His voice shook. And 9 months ago, I helped my wife plan to murder my father and institutionalize my mother to steal their $9 million estate. The room went completely silent. My father is 71 years old. He served as chief of cardiothoracic surgery at UCSF Medical Center for 15 years. He's saved more lives than I can count. He taught me to fish, to ski, to be a man. And I tried to have him declared incompetent so I could steal his life's work. Tears started falling. My mother is 67. She was a music professor for 32 years. She taught thousands of students to play piano, to love Chopin and Debussy and Mozart. She can still play Rachmaninoff from memory. And I drugged her for months, made her think she was losing her mind, destroyed her confidence, her sense of self, because I owed money to dangerous people, and I was too much of a coward to ask my parents for help. His voice broke completely. I told myself I was protecting my children, that the threats against them justified everything. But the truth is, I chose money over my parents. I chose my wife's schemes over my family's safety. And when my father came home early and caught us, my first thought wasn't remorse. It was anger that our plan was falling apart. He looked directly at us. Mom, Dad, I know you can't forgive me. I know I destroyed something that can never be rebuilt. I just want you to know that I understand what I did. I understand that elder abuse doesn't just happen in nursing homes to strangers. It happens in families, wealthy families with every advantage. It happens when someone decides that age makes people disposable. That money matters more than the people who gave you life. He stepped down. No applause. Just heavy, weighted silence. We didn't speak to him afterward. Eleanor couldn't. I wouldn't. We drove back to the lake house without a word. That Thanksgiving, a year after everything fell apart, Rebecca and David came with their kids. We cooked turkey using Eleanor's recipe from 40 years ago. The grandchildren helped make pie, got flour everywhere, laughed and shrieked and reminded us what family was supposed to sound like. After dinner, while they played with their new toys in the living room, Rebecca showed me her phone. It was a photo. Stephen in prison work clothes, standing in what looked like a hospital wing. He's working in the prison medical unit, Rebecca said quietly, helping elderly inmates with their medication, their mobility, writing letters to families. His therapist says he's making progress. Are you going to visit him? I don't know. Should I? Eleanor came over, looked at the photo. Something passed across her face. Pain, loss, and maybe, just maybe, something else. That's between you and your brother, she said softly. Rebecca, don't let what he did destroy your relationship with him forever. He made terrible choices. He hurt us in ways I'm still processing. But he's still your brother, and maybe someday he'll be someone we can know again. Not today, though, I said. No, Eleanor squeezed my hand. Not today. That night, after everyone had gone to bed, I stood on our deck overlooking the lake. The November air was cold, but the stars were brilliant against the black sky, reflected in the still water below. Eleanor came out, wrapped a blanket around both of us. What are you thinking about? She asked. How lucky we are. Despite everything. How so? We survived. We protected what we built. Rebecca came through when it mattered, and we're still here, still together, watching this lake we've loved for 28 years. She kissed my cheek. I'm still angry at him, at both of them. What they did to us, the fear, the violation. I still have nightmares about forgetting things, about losing myself. I know, me too. But I miss Emma and Jake. They didn't choose this. They're just children. Rebecca brings them by on weekends when she can. We see them. It's not the same. They should be here for holidays, learning to ski on these slopes, fishing in this lake. This house was supposed to be their inheritance too. I pulled her closer. It still will be, through Rebecca, and maybe someday, through Emma and Jake directly. But not through Stephen. Not after what he tried to do. We stood there for a long time, listening to the gentle lap of water against the dock below. The house behind us, warm and lit, the life we'd built over 4.5 decades. It was still ours. I learned something that night in November when I came home early. I learned that the people you love most can plot your destruction. That trust is fragile. That age doesn't make you vulnerable. Trusting the wrong people does. But I also learned that you can survive betrayal, that you can set boundaries and still love someone from a distance, that forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation, and healing doesn't mean forgetting. The lake house was still ours. The life we'd built was still ours. And whatever Stephen became in the next 5 years, whatever redemption he found or didn't find, it would be his path alone. We'd protected what mattered. Sometimes that's all you can do. If you've watched this story until now, please like and subscribe to Maple Vengeance for more stories. Your support means everything to us.